Ladies and gentlemen, X-Men 97 episode 6 review up next. We get some answers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm here as usual with my man Maul. Maul, say what's up to the people.
Welcome, folks. What's up? What's up?
All right. We are now entering episode 6 of X-Men 97 after episode 5 rocked the world. We do get some answers here in episode 6, and we kind of touch on 3 different story arcs, but I know, Maul, you had some strong feelings about the episode as a whole. Did you want to get started? Did you want to start on that?
Um, yeah. I feel like this episode was a little bit trash. It was kind of whack. Um, it
Why? Why? What do you?
the
What made it? What was the problem? What problem did you have with it?
okay. First of all, they was building up with Storm's story, right? Her and
Yeah.
Forge, an adversary, and I just feel like every time they get into Storm's story or dialogue or give her a moment to shine, like they always fall short. Like she's like one of the illest characters in the Marvel universe, and they never really like give her a proper like scene. It's always like some sort of downplayed, weird, whack, assisted, or like very vague scenario of like who she is, what she can do, and like what she brings to the table. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like they don't do it right. And then Xavier once again shows his narcissistic overview of like why his life and world is so much more important than everyone else's. I mean, here you are like to marry like a galactic a galactic like person who is like over everything.
Mm-hmm.
Really, their universe is far more important than yours. Like you're already considered dead on your world. You know what I mean? No one's looking for you. No one's like even considering you being alive. Like you already left everything in place. You left Magneto in charge. You left all of these X-Men who basically can run their own teams. You know what I mean? Like all
Yep.
of the top dogs can run their own stuff. Like he's like, I got to get back to my kids, and I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, dude, you already declared that you're gonna marry this girl who's like way more superior than you. Like, come on, man. Like, yeah, you're a relationship ruiner, dude. Like, I don't.
So I think that you're onto something there with Xavier and his narcissism. That's one thing that I actually like that they're leaning into, because in the original show we didn't get to see that much. That was a misconception a lot of people had about Xavier growing up. If they were just watching the show, they didn't realize how terrible a person he was in the books.
Dude, he's the
Um,
worst.
he he I wouldn't go into all the things he did here, but there was a lot of stuff that he did that was like kind of like underhanded, like sneaky, that resulted in him being murdered for a short time there by Cyclops. So, and I think Cyclops did it justifiably so. Now, with that, the whole story there with what we were first introduced to with the Shi'ar side of it, we get to see the Imperial Guard, which was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it. Uh, First, when the episode starts, you see Ronan, which is like, oh, not expecting to see Ronan. I'm thinking Ronan. I think Guardians of the Galaxy from the movie. I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
like the Avengers side of things, and then when you see Ronan here, it's like, oh, our Matt fanboy. I get to see Ronan in this episode. And then the Imperial Guard come in. Deathbird flies in, and I get to see my man Gladiator.
Shout out to Gladiator.
so, as a lot of fans may know, Gladiator is one of the Marvel versions of Superman. The three big ones being Hyperion, Sentry, and Gladiator. All Superman types of versions of Superman that Marvel uses. And you got to really feel how much Superman, how powerful Gladiator was in this episode. So let's go with that first. Like anybody jump out to you that you were excited to see? Because there's one more person I want to mention as far as the Imperial Guard goes.
That stood out. No, I wouldn't say stood out to me, but
okay. If I jump into it, so there was a character that he had a small cameo in this episode, but going forward, I think he may end up being a bigger character. His name was Vulcan. He was. I'll put the image of him up here. But he is the third Summers brother. So Cyclops' youngest brother is Vulcan.
Really?
Oh. Yes. At this point, you don't know Cyclops and Cyclops and Havoc, the two brothers are on Earth. They don't know they have a third brother. And so and if the storyline goes how it went in the books, which I gotta say, X-Men 97 is doing an awesome job of keeping it kind of to the books, but not exactly, making it really exciting, is that if it goes that way, Havoc ends up taking over the Shi'ar Empire.
Really?
Taking over and conquering it. He ends up kind of going power mad a little bit. And he ends up being this really super powerful Omega level mutant. So we just got a glimpse of him there. And if I get a chance to see all three Summers brothers in an episode of X-Men 97, oh, you just made my year. You just made my year. So we did take a look at we get to look at Xavier and Lilandra and that whole thing. And what stuck out to me again was, as a mutant, you have no place you can go. You can't even go across the galaxy and get away from racism, right? They were so bigoted and racist to him there. They're saying he was lesser than regular human. I was like, he can't go anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. Would you say it was a racism tactic on them, or were they trying to more so position themselves to actually take lead?
All the above.
Of the Shi'ar.
All the above. So I think the main thing there for them was to take over. So them being, in this case, really Deathbird, Lilandra's sister. So Lilandra took over after her brother Daken. We saw him in the original series and in the Phoenix Saga portion of the original series. But he went mad. I actually get a lot of Game of Thrones feel from this whole Shi'ar Empire.
Definitely. They're very grimy. I couldn't tell if she was being grimy or if she had a point, because I guess humans were considered pretty inferior to them. Like I said, like she's a galactic queen or whatever have you. So
the issue was that not necessarily that she wanted to be queen. Well, that's part of the issue, but the issue was that not him being who he is and being inferior to her. She being Deathbird considered all humans, anyone from Earth, all Terran, to be inferior.
Yeah, that was my point. And I remember the funny part where he's walking when they're both walking in Xavier, she referred to him in a certain way, and he was like, man, it's almost like, I might as well be calling me your like dog or something like that.
Yeah, your pet. Yeah, yeah,
And I,
yeah.
and, I, and in truth, I'm like, yeah, you're about that level.
No, no, I can't roll with that more because the whole fact that they're being again blatantly bigoted towards him, not because partly because he's a Terran, but then also because she said he wasn't even a pure Terran. He was like this freakish Terran, and being racist towards mutants. And I was like again, poor Xavier. He can't go anywhere. He got to fight the battle wherever he goes. Also, and that's those that's that same part. That same storyline is when he couldn't give up his X-Men, and she tried to usurp the throne, and it was so cool to see Xavier use his powers that way. It's kind of okay, we can put it into this right now and treat them all like kids. Like I love that part. Is that I mean thoughts on that? Because I know we both think he's a jerk, but he was a cool jerk.
Well, here's my thing, right? You could have declined early, you know what I mean, and not have her thrown in jeopardy now because you wanted to go and I don't know, like say hi to the people on Earth. Like, dude, her whole throne is in jeopardy because she repped you. Like she vouched for you. She's like, yeah, this is my man. We're gonna get married, and like, yeah, and you agreed to this. You're sitting here on stage like, yeah, this is happening. And I mean, come on, man. Like,
I think her throne would have
make
been
up
in
your mind.
jeopardy. I think her throne was in jeopardy anyway because Deathbird, knowing what I know about Deathbird, she wanted that throne. She's gonna go after it some way or another. Remember in that first scene when the message went out that they were going to get married. Remember, Deathbird sat down and she said, "Oh, this is interesting," because now she had the opening to force both their
Oh,
hands
absolute,
to get.
absolutely.
So, so I don't think it would matter either way. And then I felt like Lilandra was also I'm gonna say using Charles, but taking advantage of the fact that he was this powerful telepath, and that he was this great teacher, and
Yeah,
that he could
they
teach
didn't care.
them.
They didn't care that he was a telepath.
Well, I thought you
They all have that. They have that ability on their planet. So that's not something that was like a amazing thing to them.
no,
Like they already
not that, not necessarily that he had that power per se by itself, but first of all, his is extremely vast and more powerful than pretty much anyone there. But also the fact that he had already proven that he could change people's minds. Because remember, now on Earth,
yeah,
even though people still hate mutants, there are a lot more people more accepting of mutants now because of what Charles Xavier stood for and what he taught them, and the fact that they all think he's this martyr because they all think he's dead. Well, everyone except for his students who knew he flew off into the stars with Lilandra.
but
So
let's
I
be real. But let's be real on this now. The real truth why this dude wants to get back to Earth is because he's not a boss there. Like where he's at, he's not the boss. That's the only reason why he wants to get back to Earth.
there
Like
may
he
be
knows
truth
that there's
there.
somebody over him. He's not even
Uh-huh.
third man down. You know what I mean? Like he's like I don't even know, man. Like what's he
No,
like? You know what
there's
he's
truth
like?
to that.
He's like Philip to the royal family. Like he's just the wife's. That's just the queen's husband. Like you don't even get a title. Like you're just there. And he didn't want that. That's all it really was about. He just didn't want it. Like I don't
So
know,
you know
man.
Modern Family, the Philip character.
No, I'm talking about the royal family, like in Britain. Like the
Oh,
Queen. That's who he was. He's Philip. Like he's just the guy. Like like he ain't really the king. He ain't really like royal. Like you had to give him a title name just to make him feel good. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
so.
All right. You know what? That's actually pretty true. That's actually pretty
Yeah,
true. Like,
yeah.
he's so used to being like this important figure. It's kind of hard, but I guess that kind of goes to what they're trying to express was that he was willing to give up most of it, I guess, or some of it to be with her.
He wasn't
I
willing to
guess.
give up none of it. Like this dude was like every 5 seconds, he's like, I gotta go, I gotta get back, I gotta go. She's like, dude, like, come on now. I put my crown on the line for you. Like, I don't care, I gotta
So
get back.
So I want to jump to again that end fight scene before Xavier kicks in his powers. You puts everybody in that classroom telepathically and talk about again a gladiator and that show of power he had, where it's like everyone's firing off at him, and he has that moment where he kind of just like he's just smacking people around. That
Yo,
was
he's no
pretty
joke.
awesome.
He's
That was
no
pretty
joke.
cool. Um, but to touch on what you were mentioning about the superiority complex that the Shi'ar have, right? And I'm glad Xavier brought this up in the classroom, something that people casual watcher may not have picked up on. But he mentioned about them about how they're a a group of different, a conglomerate of different races in the HCR, and
Yeah.
how the reason they got so big was because they basically cut off the other races at the knees, forced them to join the Shi'ar, and then told them that we can make you better, and they believed it, so they kept putting together. So one of the things I hear a lot in some of the YouTube channels that I follow was that's been mentioned before was that the other empires across the galaxy, like the Kree and the Skrull, how like they're just one race, and the Shi'ar is this conglomerate of races that came together, and that was the first I've heard it explained why or how they did it by undermining these other races and say, oh, you guys need us,
Yeah.
and they came in and it kind of picked up from there. I thought it was pretty interesting how they did that, how you explained that. Personally seeing that. So let's touch on Storm and Forge and the adversary. All right. Now you said
Boo.
you said you didn't like it. You don't like the way they treated Storm in this. I get that. But what were your thoughts on how the story played out in part 2?
I thought it was whack. I thought like here we have a situation. You know what's funny? It wasn't even it wasn't even uh it wasn't even a battle. Like so Forge did the thing with his mom's book, right? Which made me ask the question, did his mom have anything to do with Doctor Strange?
That's a good question because
You seen the power, right? Like you seen how the
yeah,
book unfolded, right?
I saw how and I saw other people mention this as well. How when he was using his powers, they had that Doctor Strange circle and the
Yeah,
sparkles
yeah, yeah.
around it. It was, and I don't know honestly. I don't know if there's a connection there. But I do know that Doctor Strange can possibly show up in the X-Men because of the way it's structured and because they can use any character. Because we know Captain America's coming later on in the season.
Yeah.
But I don't know if his mom, back to your question, was a part of or has any connection to Doctor Strange at all. I don't know.
It makes sense if he was because they're like guardians of what the multiverse and the dimensions and
Mhm.
stuff like that,
Yeah,
various dimensions, and we know that adversaries from another dimension. So
true.
if she has that ability to put a lock or a hold on adversary, then or send it to a different dimension, then that would make a whole lot of sense. Um, yes, but I brought that up to say she goes into this small space, right? And we know that she's terrified of small spaces and stuff
Yeah,
like
very
that.
claustrophobic. Yeah.
But at that point, adversary wasn't even there anymore. This is all in her mind now at this point. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, we could do better with Storm than this. Like, come on, man. Let's get.
So
Can we really like give her some meat? Like, come on. You're reducing her to a child at this point. Like,
I'm
oh,
not
and
fighting.
hold up, and that's my other
Go
thing
ahead.
too. Here you have her finally get back this amazing abilities, powers that she has, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is what makes me laugh. She gets back her powers, right? She goes on this like liberated, like female empowerment journey ride, like throughout the countryside, and she's like, we like just seeing like her ominous power again. Meanwhile, Forge is in the cave, like just straight dying here. Like, did you forget your purpose of like even going in the cave, homie? Like, you can go and do your little victory dance later. Like, can we get back at him? He's dying here. Like, I
So
don't know.
with that, I actually didn't mind her going for that flight, and I love the fact they went back to her classic Storm outfit. That was pretty cool. but the whole treat her like a child thing, that's still part to do with her childhood trauma, of her of being afraid of enclosed spaces. But you're right though. She did kind of just leave him there. Go on go on a
She straight
joyride,
just left
really.
him in the. Oh my god.
I'll be I'll be back. I'll be back.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so I guess the whole point there was that it's all in her head, right? So basically saying that she's so powerful that the the ray that was supposed to take her powers away or did take her powers away for a while couldn't last forever because she's that powerful.
Makes sense.
I mean I can get that. I'm cool with that. Um, but Storm as a whole, and the story as a whole, it wasn't the most compelling story, but I kind of see what how they were trying to set some things up with Storm and Forge, and you know, um, drawing the parallels, and then you get to see at the end. Oh, see at the end, and I want to bring both of these stories into the loop here. When because these stories were taking place, even though we saw them this week during the time that Genosha was being destroyed, right? So you saw how Xavier broke out of that his psychic transfer, whatever he had going on there, that he broke out of the realm there. I can't think of what it's called now. The astral plane. When Gambit died,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he turned to the skeleton. Notice that he didn't. There was no Magneto there, no trauma for Magneto. So,
Mm-hmm.
which we believe Magneto may still be alive, which most people believe to be the case. So when Gambit died, he had that trauma, and then at the end of Life Death Part 2, when Storm saw the news report of what happened in Genosha, and it's like, yeah, we got to go back. So now we have 4 episodes left, and you can see everybody trying to come back together for this big fight. What were you thinking though when you saw? Because I know you were big on Gambit, on what happened to Gambit. What were your thoughts when you saw him pop up there in Xavier like Gambit?
I mean, I felt like it brought it back again. Like, damn, my boy Gambit's gone. And I felt kind of bad about that or whatever have you. I don't know. Like, I mean, Xavier was already one leg out the door. You know what I mean? That just gave him his confirmation of I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Like,
Gave an excuse to leave.
yeah, he was already halfway out of there. So, you know,
I get that.
but Mr. Sinister,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
Go.
I
What
mean,
do you thought?
not that I didn't. It wasn't a shocker that he's the one who set off Genosha, only because of Cable coming back
Mm-hmm.
and saying,
Yeah.
I'm too late. he's already here. So, and I already knew like he was already kind of going at it with him from birth, from when he was a child. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it would only make sense that he was the nemesis of the whole situation. Um, but
So
yeah, I want to know what's coming next. I definitely want to know that.
yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to point out was when you saw the scientist there going for a run. Like, I'm drawing a blank here. It wasn't Bulova Trask. It was the other gentleman. Um, uh, it'll come back to me later. But that doctor who created the Sentinels, the scientist that created the Sentinels, and he's running, and he's like, "I gave you my DNA, so you know to let you use the Sentinels," which takes us back to the story arc. E is for Extinction, where it was actually Cassandra Nova who tricked his one of his descendants into giving the DNA to give him control of the Sentinel. So that was a nice little twist they did there, because they don't, I guess they're planning on using Sinister as a main villain this season.
Mm.
And so we got to see Sinister was one responsible for what happened in Genosha. And rumor has it, and it would make sense, is that Sinister is actually working for Apocalypse, and that's why the reason why we probably keep seeing the clips of Apocalypse in the opening. We haven't seen him yet.
Oh,
We keep
okay,
getting
okay.
these clips of him, and it's like it makes sense that probably at the end of the season, we'll probably get a lead into next season featuring Apocalypse. Is what it's
Okay.
looking like. What I'm hoping for. But the fact that oh man, that he was responsible for this. I don't know if Sinister is gonna be safe anywhere on the planet. For what he just did, it might get ugly for him. And I don't know if he makes it to season 2.
We'll
Like,
see.
he might not
We
make it
will
to
see.
season 2.
Oh man,
Uh,
dude. How many they say died?
they didn't say in this show, but in the books it was 16 million. But when Scott asked last week how many was it, no one answered. They cut the scene, and everyone was just kind of in shock at the end of the scene. So so if they stick to the material, it'll be multiple millions of mutants that was killed on Genosha. So those were the 3 story arcs we got to touch on this week. It was the Shi'ar, Charles Xavier, Lilandra, being the Shi'ar, part of the Shi'ar Empire. We got to touch on the second half of Life Death, and we got to find out that Sinister was the man behind the massacre. Yeah, so I know they said you had a problem with the episode. I didn't mind it so much. Again, the storm storyline could have been stronger, right? Could have had a bit more to it, more action to it, but it was more of a personal battle or personal journey for her. Apparently, less physical. But I'm curious to see what we get next week, and I am looking forward to a Summers Brother reunion at some point here before the series ends. And one other thing I wanted to make mention of was that I did read that Bo DeMayo, the gentleman who was a showrunner for this, and was fired, as we all know, he actually wrote up until season 3. So the storylines we're going to get through season 3 will all still be stories that he put together. So which will be awesome, because we know, because so far, anything we've seen from him and this X-Men 97 has been
Oh yeah.
excellent.
Oh yeah. Bring him back.
I don't know what he did. They haven't say what he did yet to be get fired.
We don't care.
but
I'm petitioning today. We got 2 signatures. Bring him back.
I actually heard another good. Somebody made a good point too on YouTube. Was that the fact that the X-Men 97 is doing so well, and the fact that people love it so much, and the fact that they're doing such a good job executing it, they're like, one, the MCU needs to take note of it, right? and they may want to go talk to Bo DeMayo and have him help out with some of these Marvel movies that are coming out, because if he can put this together this well, it may be a good idea to get him involved in the larger picture. So Kevin Feige, if you're paying attention, and if Marvel or Disney's want to let you rehire Bo DeMayo, go get him. Go get him, because we want him. All right. So that, Maul, what else, if anything, you want to say to the folks before we sign off?
Don't make another episode like that. Do better.
Do better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. We are excited about what comes next. We have four episodes left of the season, and all I can say is I want more. Later.
Peace.
Like, subscribe, comment, and share, and help us grow this channel some, because we love what we're doing. We want to do more. We're doing X-Men 97. We've done a few other cartoons here along the way that you will be seeing. We're doing X-Men 97 right now, obviously, because it's coming out weekly, and we love X-Men. So if you like, subscribe, share, help us grow the channel. We can do a lot more of this and on a lot bigger scale. But yeah, that's it for me. All right, folks. I'll see you guys later.
Yes, sir. Peace.